Hello, this is Bob Gray Sr. Welcome to Ministry Moments. Lord willing, every Friday, 4 o'clock Eastern Time, will come to you. And this is not preaching time. It's not a sermon, but I just want to rap with you, just chat with you. And I don't have a stool, don't have a goatee, or don't have a beard, but or a leisure shirt on. But anyway, I want you to get your pen out and jot some things down. And again, this is not a sermon time, but just some thoughts that I have from traveling every week and preaching, and we have question and answer many times, and so people ask me questions, and then it gives me thoughts to run through my empty head up here. And but get your pen out. I want to talk to you about critiquing versus criticizing. Critiquing versus criticizing. Critiquing versus criticizing. Now, critiquing are those who carry the load, and they carry a similar load to someone else, that maybe a pastor, he pastors, another pastor pastors, an evangelist is an evangelist, and another evangelist. And there's a husband, another husband, a wife, parents, and so on. And so they carry a load, whatever their leadership role is, and they carry a responsible principal of a school, a youth director, a bus director, or maybe not just that, maybe somebody works in government roles or in a public setting. But critiquing versus criticizing. Now, critiquing are those who carry the load, and they analyze, and they have assessments, and they have evaluation. So they carry the load, and because of that, they're constantly thinking all the time. As a pastor, this week talked to me about how to handle visitors and what I did on handling the recognition of visitors. And got so upset because I kept losing names, and I didn't know what to do. And so I learned from Dr. Jim Vineyard. Visited my wife and I one weekend, and when we were at House Anderson, and we went there, and I saw the way he handled the greeting the visitors. And so instead of having them up and give their names and everything, he said, let's have the church members stand, the visitors be seated, and ushers pass out the guest cards to those who are seated. And I loved it. I loved it because you got everybody that way. And some people don't want to stand. Some people don't want to speak in front of a crowd, maybe get their nerve up, finally go to church, and then the pastor doesn't stand up and give their name, and they don't want to do that. But anyway, whether you understand it or not, critiquing of those who carried a teenage boy does not carry the load that his dad carried. So he is not on the level of critiquing anything. He doesn't carry the load. A church member doesn't carry the load of a pastor. The parent does not carry the load of the principal of a school or the teacher. And so I want in your mind to compartmentalize and understand that critiquing is among the crowd that carries the same load, and they analyze for the benefit of the carrying of the load to be more efficient, be more productive. And then there's assessment part of it, and then the evaluation part of it. So we would go to pastor school as pastors, and we'd listen to Brother Hiles. We were pastors. He was a pastor. Of course, obviously, he had 100,000 members. We had 10. But we sat there and we learned. But we weren't those who were wise. Were not critical. And if they were critical, it was because they were not carrying the load that Brother Hiles was carrying. They had the same title, but not the same load. So critiquing is okay because you learn to analyze where you're at and what you can learn to get further on down the road that you've traveled so far. And then the assessment of the work, and then the evaluation of the work. Now, criticizing, are those who do not carry the load, but they want to analyze the load. They do not carry the load, but they have an assessment that's different. They have an evaluation of it that's different, but they're not carrying the load. Now you become critical of that. I had a church member every year come in and see me, and tell me all the mistakes that I made. And I wanted to say to him, well, why don't you walk down the aisle next Sunday, surrender to preach, and we'll take up $1.98 offering for you and send you off to Bible college and let you starve to death for 4 years. But I'm just saying to you that we need to understand the two groups here. Critiquing is okay. I want to have a Sunday school that's better than the way I've been doing it. I want to have a bus ministry that's better than the way I've been doing it. I want to grow. I want the people to grow. So to critique is okay. To evaluate is okay. To analyze is okay if you're carrying the same load. So be careful about people who are more successful than you are, and don't become critical of them. Now, critique for your own good. You may learn something at pastor school. Brother House had 20 years on me, and I never catch him, never catch him. So when I went to pastor school, I learned what he learned the year before, but it was still 20 years ahead of me. And when I would travel with him, 22 years I've traveled, the last 11 years almost every week, I learned, but I was not critical of him. I would critique, I would assess, I would evaluate, and I would analyze to see how could I be more profitable? How could I produce more? How could I be more efficient in what I'm doing? So that was critiquing. There were some who went to pastor school who criticized it. There were some leaders that I looked up to back in those early 70s. And I mean, they were great churches back then in the 70s, great church everywhere. But all of a sudden they quit coming to pastor school. All of a sudden they became more informed than Brother Hiles was, and they became critical. Now, they weren't carrying the same load that Brother Hiles was carrying. But they thought they were equal to what Brother Hiles was doing, and they weren't. I wasn't. So you have to understand you don't want to cross the line of critiquing to criticizing. All right, number one, the local church is a called out body of baptized believers. It's ecclesia, that's what it is, a called out body of baptized believers. Number two, there is no universal church. The Catholic doctrine of universalism is not true. It's not a universal, invisible body. And my wife and I got married. She was a visible bride. I was a visible groom, and I became more visible through the years. Number three, every local church body has an uncomely members. It's just part of it. A body has a heel. Well, then a spiritual body has a heel too, uncomely parts, if you please. Then I say that the heel is found in every church body. The heel is found in every church body. So don't be shocked when it happens. Now, the critical person is not going to build anything because he's trying to bring somebody back down to his level. You understand? So by bringing somebody back down to his level, then he feels like now that he's on par. But I never wanted to bring Brother Hiles back down to where I was. I wanted to go where he was. So critiquing those who carry the load, the same load, can analyze, assess, and evaluate. But there are those who are further ahead than you, and you're down here. Well, you don't want to then cross the line and criticize to tear them down to where they're down where you're at, because that doesn't help him. It doesn't help you. For the houses inquisitive. We go to churches, he'd pick up things and put it in the back of his Bible, and I would say, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm collecting ideas. Then I'm going to go back to him and I'm going to put them into book form and sell it back to him." And he did. When you're teachable, you're reachable. But when you have a leader who's up here and the followers down here, and you want to tear him down to here, you're not being teachable, you're being critical. So critiquing is okay. I want to analyze. I want to assess. There's always somebody who knows a lot more than I know, and I don't want to tear them down and make me feel good. I want to learn what they've learned that I haven't learned yet. But there's a thin line between critiquing and criticizing. So, number one, the local church is a called out body of baptized believers. Number two, there's no such thing as an invisible universal body. Number three, every local body, visible body, has an uncommonly member. Number four, the healed is in every spiritual body, every local church. Number five, there's a need for the critic. Please don't leave me. There's a need for the critic. Now, he'll not build anything. But number six, he will point things, he'll tell you things about you that you won't tell yourself. That's what he's going to do. You may not like it. This one church member I mentioned would come in every year and tell me all the things I did wrong. God bless him. He was a servant of God. He was a Shimei. And he would say something to me. Point one didn't bother me. Point two didn't bother me. But oh man, point five, whoo, got me right in the heart. And I didn't say it to him because I still had pride. But I said, oh Lord, if you help me, I promise you I'll never do that again. I promise you, Lord. I promise you. I promise you. Thank God for him. Thank God. Now, he'll not build anything. He's too busy tearing me down. The pastors who tear and do now, the guy's been dead since 2001, the man of God, and they're still trying to kill him. His influence is that powerful. Oh, you're a man worshiper. We're unaffiliated. You know how dumb that statement is. The unaffiliated are affiliated with the unaffiliated. It's so dumb. The non-denominational is a denomination. Crazy talk. This crazy talk. But nobody worshiped Jack Hyles. Nobody worshiped John Rice or Tom Malone. Any of those men. Nobody worshiped these men, but we learned from these men. And these men helped us to grow. They weren't on an island by themselves and didn't want to contact with anybody anymore. No, they made themselves available. I remember calling Dr. Tom Malone one Thursday. We're having a conference. He was supposed to come, and so I was going to ask him some questions. And I called the secretary and said, "Oh," I said, "No, he's out soul winning." Okay, he said, "But if you call back about 5 o'clock, he'll be back to the church here. You can talk to him." So I called back 5 o'clock. Dr. Malone, yes, Brother Gray. I said, "Been out soul winning, huh?" Yeah, he said, "But all that wins a bunch of old people." I laughed about that, but he was still doing it. I didn't want to tear Tom Malone down. I don't want to tear these men of God that are getting the job done, but I would critique what I was doing compared to what I could learn from them and what they were doing. But I didn't want it to cross into criticizing. So that's what number one, the local church is a called out body of baptized believers. Number two, no universal body here, no invisible, no Catholics here, Catholicism here. Every local church has uncomely parts. The heal's a part of every local church. There's a need for the critic. Number six, they'll tell you things that you'll not tell yourself. Went to the doctor. Doctor said, Pastor, you have to get on the scale. We got to get your weight before we can do this physical exam. I said, I'm not getting on that scale. I was 11 pounds when I was born. I've been fighting it ever since. No, you got to get on the scale. I'm not getting on the scale. Unless you got one for my left leg, one for my right leg. And I got on the scale, and the nerve of that doctor. It was a lady doctor, and she said to me, have you ever thought about a low-fat diet? I said, have you ever thought about plastic surgery? Anyway, you have critiquing, where you analyze, assess. You got maybe the same title, maybe not carrying the same load, but boy, you said, I want help. I want help. So I'm going to the one who's doing more, not to tear him down to where I'm at, but for me to be teachable so I can learn. So I assess and I analyze and I evaluate. Criticism is when I cross over and say, well, who does he think he is? He think he's God? No, he doesn't think he's God. No, he doesn't. So it can easily end into being critical. Last point is listen and learn. Listen and learn. You win people, you win them, wet them, wean them, and work them. That's what you do. Say it again, win them, wet them, wean them, and work them. Listen and learn. So I want to learn from those who are doing more than me. Brother House, as I said, he had 20 years on me. And thank God for those 20 years. And thank God for pastor school, because I could go every year and learn what he had learned the year before. So I didn't get 21 years behind him. So I hope this helps you now. Critiquing versus criticizing. It's all right to critique if you're carrying the same load or the same position. A dad can understand what another dad's going through. A mother can understand what another mother's going through. A son or daughter can't. And if you're not careful, rather than learning, then it being critical. I told Bob when he became youth director, I said, now, son, when they come in here crying on your shoulder, oh, my daddy, this, my daddy, that. I said, don't you give them a shoulder to lean on, or don't give them an ear. Don't do it. Just tell them to get out a piece of paper and have them write down their complaints. Complaint number one, about my dad. Complaint number two, my mom. Complaint number three. And when you get done, just say to them, okay, don't you do that. When you become a dad or a mom, don't you do that. Because it's easy. You're not carrying the load. You may have the title, but not the load. That's a different aspect of what I'm trying to say. But I'm just saying critiquing versus criticizing. Hope it helped you. God bless you. Every Friday at 4 o'clock Eastern time, Ministry Moments. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. And please tell people about it. Maybe it'll be a help. Maybe it won't. Give us some ammunition. You can get mad at me. You can do that, can't you? God bless you. Have a great day soul winning tomorrow.